Dear viewers, every year lakhs of people leave India to become an NRI. When you become an NRI, you have got certain obligations, you have got certain doubts in your mind. What are the things that you need to be doing, what things that you have to work on, and what are the things that you need to avoid. In this episode, we are going to talk about your obligations and rest of the things that you need to be attending to when you become an NRI for the first time. This is NRI Money Clinic for you, and I am Dr. Chandrakant Bhatt, a practicing financial planner.
NRI Money Clinic. No hype, just the right advice.
Dear viewers, when you become an NRI for the first time, what are your obligations? What are the things that you have to do? The point to remember here is, when you become an NRI, there are two laws you have to attend to. One, income tax law, which takes care of the taxation of your income in India and taxation of your income outside of India, which is quite a routine affair, and we have done so many videos on this. One another act or one another law that you have to adhere to is a law called FEMA law, Foreign Exchange Maintenance Act. We have done a couple of videos on FEMA law earlier. We are giving a description to these videos here in the description box. Please make sure you watch them other than this video as well. To talk about your obligations and what are the things that you have to really look into when you become a first time NRI, I have brought to the studios my eminent faculty, Chartered Accountant Dhanush. Chartered Accountant Dhanush is again a popular figure on our channel. He is a specialist on FEMA law, a practicing chartered accountant, a partner at Nitin J. Shetty and Co. He has to his credit solving the FEMA law issues pertaining to the NRI community. Welcome to the show, Mr. Dhanush.
Thank you.
Mr. Dhanush, every year so many people will go outside of India and become NRIs.
Yes.
They just walk out of India.
Yes.
They are not aware about what are the things that they have to attend to.
Yes.
I want you to tell to the benefit of our viewers what are the things that they have to focus on when they become NRI, must do things, what they should not do. See, they have got their several doubts, like they have got the bank accounts, they have investments, they have positions in their companies or businesses. There are several doubts that are there, and people keep asking me through the comment section, what should we do? That's how I just thought you are the best person to answer their questions. I will ask you one by one questions that are there in their mind, and I expect you to kindly help our audience with your knowledge of this FEMA law.
Yes. Let me give a brief introduction.
Yeah.
The FEMA law permits NRIs to hold his investments, which is in the form of immovable properties or investments in assets or any mutual fund investments, jewelry or any kind of assets which was acquired or held by him when he was a resident in India. But it's subject to certain restrictions.
Okay.
And the same can be even transferred or reinvested subject to certain restrictions under FEMA.
Okay. So you mean to say, okay, somebody became an NRI, so you don't have to worry about what assets you are holding inside India. As per the law, it can be permitted. There are certain conditions attached to it, right?
Yes.
It's not that you have to sell it off, kind of a thing. No, nothing of that sort. You can continue to hold them, but we need to look at what conditions are attached
Yes.
with it. Okay. Now let us look at one by one what all the things our audience need to know. Let's look at item wise. First is, many of the persons who are becoming NRIs, they trade in stocks, they own mutual funds, they have got the demat accounts. What happens to the shares which are there in the demat account when they become an NRI?
The shares and securities in the demat account which was held by him when he was a resident in India can be continued to be held when he becomes a NRI.
Okay. But one problem we will notice. Now when he becomes an NRI, now his bank account will get changed to NRE and NRO account. These demat accounts are attached to an SB account when he was in India. Now if you keep the shares in the same demat account and you change the bank account, what happens in that case?
When he becomes NRI, he has to intimate his bank about the change in the residential status. So in that case, your resident savings account will be designated to NRO account, and you will have to open NRE accounts. In that case, whatever demat account which is linked to your resident account has to be designated to your NRO demat account.
Okay.
Whatever existing demat account when he was resident in India, that has to be designated to NRO demat account.
Okay. So the demat account also has to be
Designated to NRO demat account.
right. So a person become an NRI, his SB account becomes NRO. You say he can continue to hold the shares in the demat form,
Yes.
but a new demat account has to be opened, and this is called a NRO demat account. And this has to be moved from the old demat account to the new demat
Yes.
account. Is that correct?
Yes. Whatever shares which are there in the resident demat account has to be transferred to NRO demat account.
Right. So dear viewers, so this is a common problem that is there with the NRIs who are living in India. If you are having a demat account in India when you are a resident Indian, when you become an NRI, you have to intimate the bank to close your SP account and convert into an NRO account. Likewise, your demat account which was there as a resident demat account has to be converted into NRO demat account. The holdings which are there in the resident demat account has to be transferred to NRO demat account. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right. Now the crucial question is, now a person has purchased these shares when he was a resident Indian.
Yes.
Now he became an NRI.
Yes.
Now this has been moved into NRO demat account.
Yes.
If he wants to repatriate, is it possible or is it on a non-repatriable basis?
So when you are transferring shares from your resident demat account to NRO demat account, there are restrictions when you want to repatriate the sale proceeds. So NRO demat account means if you want to purchase shares on non-repatriable basis, then you will have to have a NRO demat account. Your whatever sale proceeds from the shares out of NRO demat account will be credited to your NRO bank account. So when you sell the shares, the sale proceeds will be credited to your NRO bank account. Out of the NRO bank account, if you want to repatriate the sale proceeds, there is a limit of $1 million US. But this $1 million US covers all other capital remittances. Say for example, your sale proceeds of immovable properties and any other assets. So there is a limit of $1 million US in a financial year.
Right. So if I understood you correctly, what it means is that when you get this NRO demat account done, it is on a non-repatriable basis.
Yes.
But if you want to repatriate this money, you have to use the $1 million scheme which is available for NRIs to repatriate the money.
Yes.
It is this $1 million is not only for the shares, but every heading under
Yes.
which like your sale of properties or any other assets which you can repatriate, that comes under that, and you have to use that window which has been given to
Yes.
you to repatriate your money.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. Mr. Dhanush, now somebody is an NRI, he is earning outside of India, he doesn't want this hassle of using $1 million scheme to repatriate the money, but he wants to buy Indian shares and he wants money to be repatriated at his will. What can he do and what is that solution for this?
If the NRI wants to buy the shares on repatriable basis, then he has to open NRE demat account.
So first you said NRO demat account,
Yes.
now you are telling an NRE demat account.
NRO
These are two different ones.
Yes, NRO demat account and NRE demat account. So NRO demat account is non-repatriable basis and NRE demat account is on repatriable basis.
Okay.
And there are no restrictions for repatriations, but there are certain conditions as well.
Okay.
The first condition is you have to open a separate NRE bank account which is linked to this NRE demat account.
So this is what these people call it as PIS account.
PAS account.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you want to trade in shares,
Yes.
apart from your normal NRE account, you should have a designated separate NRE account to fund this account.
Yes.
Right?
All the investments to this NRE demat account has to made from this NRE bank account.
A special PIS account.
PAS account.
So you have an NRE account, from that you can transfer to PAS account, but only from PAS account you can buy the shares and hold it in NRE demat account.
Yes.
That amount is repatriable.
Yes.
Right? Mr. Dhanush, now let's say that somebody holds an RFC account. You may ask how we can have an RFC account. He was an NRI earlier.
Yes.
and he had an RFC account when he became a resident. Now he is again becoming an NRI.
Yes.
Now can he transfer this RFC account into an FCNR or NRE account, and from there he can fund the PAS account?
Yes, he can do it.
He can do that.
He can do that.
Okay. As you say, the funding for this PAS account can come from the RFC account which is converted into an FCNR account.
Yes.
Likewise, he can also bring money, fresh money from outside of India.
Yes.
So he can remit it to his NRE account and he can fund the PAS account, and from there he can buy it.
Yes, yes.
So both sources are acceptable
Yes,
thing, right?
yes. It is permitted under FEMA.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. See, one another common problem the first time NRIs have is they have purchased a lot of insurance policies. It's extremely common. They have got a doubt in their mind that what happens to my insurance policies which are purchased when I was an Indian? Can they be retained? Any alteration required, or any requirements from the law side that I have to fulfill?
The insurance policies taken when he was a resident in India can be continued to be held when he becomes NRI.
Okay.
But he has to intimate to his insurance company about the changes in the residential status.
Okay.
And you don't need any permissions or RBI permission or AD Bank's permission to pay the premium amount.
Okay.
He can continue to hold such insurance policies which was taken when he was resident in India.
Okay. So you can continue to hold your insurance policies. Mr. Dhanush says it needs to be intimated to insurance companies. Maybe through a mail you can intimate the insurance company
Yes.
that you have become a non-resident Indian, and you can continue to pay for these policies from your NRO account or from your NRI account. If you want your monies to be repatriated at a future date, kindly maintain the source of funds that you have used to pay for these insurance policies, because at the time of maturity, if you request for repatriation of proceeds of these insurance policies, insurance company will invariably ask you from which source of funds that you have paid for this policy, and the onus is on you to prove that you have paid this money from your NRE account. The chances are that for a few years you have paid from your resident account, and a few more years you would have paid from NRE account, and it's perfectly possible for an insurance company to give you a certificate on a proportional basis that the amount that you have paid from outside of India can be repatriated in this case.
Yes.
Right. One another common question or a practical issue is people are employed in India. When they are employed in India, they have got their provident funds here, or they have got the PPF account. What happens to this PPF account when they become an NRI?
NRIs are not allowed to have PPF account, but if the PPF account is opened when he was resident in India, the same can be continued to be held until the maturity. But on maturity he cannot renew it, or he cannot apply for extension, which unlike the residents have the options to extend the PPF account.
Right. So somebody has a PPF account, you can continue to pay for that PPF account when you become an NRI. Condition is that you cannot extend it when it reaches its maturity by 15 years, or
Yes.
if you are already in an extended period, further extension is not possible. Right.
Yes.
There are a lot of Indians who become NRI, but when they were residents, they have invested money outside of India
Yes.
through LRS route
Yes.
or through overseas direct investment.
Yes.
What happens to these investments when they become NRI?
So investments made when he was a resident in India under liberalized remittance scheme or overseas direct investment can be continued to be held by when he becomes NRI.
Okay.
But you have to intimate to the RBI, Reserve Bank of India, through your AD Bank about the changes in the residential status.
So there is an obligation there. You can
Yes.
continue to hold, but you have to inform RBI
Yes.
about your status change.
Yes.
This is with respect to your overseas direct investments. Okay. So dear viewers, if you have an overseas direct investment you have done at the time of when you are a resident Indian, when you become an NRI, you have an obligation to inform the Reserve Bank of India about your change of status. Mr. Dhanush, these persons who become NRIs could be holding properties in India or maybe outside of India. Both possibilities are there. What happens to these properties? Is there any requirements from the point of view of law?
Properties acquired in India as well as outside India when he was resident in India can be continued to be held when he becomes NRI.
Yeah.
There are no such any restrictions under FEMA laws with respect to immovable properties. The same can be even transferred
Okay.
or reinvested.
Okay. Mr. Dhanush, you have spoken about restrictions around agricultural properties in your video on FEMA law, right?
Yes.
If somebody owns agriculture property when he was a resident, what happens to this agriculture property when he becomes an NRI? Can he continue to hold? Can he sell? If he sells, what are the conditions which are attached with it? Can you brief to the benefit of our audience?
The agriculture properties which was acquired when he was a resident in India can be continued to be held when he becomes non-resident.
Right.
And but when he wants to sell this property, the same can be sold to resident Indians only, not to NRIs.
So if as an NRI friend, you can't sell this agricultural land to
Yes.
another NRI, but you can sell it to a resident
Indian.
Resident Indian. Can
And-
this money be repatriated?
Yes, of course, he can repatriate this sale proceeds.
It can be repatriated.
Yes.
Mr. Dhanush, people become NRIs
Hmm.
and they were residents.
Hmm.
They have got the savings bank accounts in different banks here.
Hmm.
They go and become NRI, continue to live there, keep remitting money to SB account.
Yes.
Okay, this is a rampant issue.
Yes.
Now, for a person who is becoming NRI, what is his obligation towards the bank account? What does the law say?
When he becomes NRI, he has to intimate his banker about the changes in the residential status.
Okay.
The banker will designate his resident savings account to NRO bank account, and to remit money from outside India, he has to have NRI bank account. So these two are the bank accounts which the NRI has to have.
Okay. So, what happens to the existing SB account? Can he continue to keep them?
No, he cannot continue to keep them. That has to be designated to NRO bank account.
So, one of the major obligation for a person who is becoming NRI is you have to change your bank accounts to NRO accounts and NRE account. NRO account is for your transactions which are within India, non-repatriable. If you want your monies to be repatriable, then you need to be opening an NRE account, and these NRE accounts can receive money from outside of India, and you can freely repatriate this money. Don't do this mistake of keeping the SB accounts as it is, as per the FEMA law. As per the one another video which we have already done, is a clear violation of FEMA law, which might become very expensive for you in case if it is called out.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now you said that they cannot hold the SB account and they have to convert this into NRO accounts,
Yes.
and if required one more NRE account has to be
Yes.
opened. When I am a resident Indian, I might be carrying a couple of credit cards.
Yes.
What happens to the credit cards which are attached to these SB account?
The credit card linked to resident savings account would cease to function when you become NRI.
Okay.
Because your resident savings account would be designated to NRO bank account. However, if you continue to hold such credit cards which is linked to resident bank account without intimating your banker about the changes in the residential status, it would be a violation under FEMA law.
So it has the same consequence as that of holding an SB account against the FEMA law.
Yes.
Holding a credit card which is attached to SB account
Yes.
is also a violation of FEMA law.
FEMA law.
Right?
Yes.
So please, if you are having a credit card which is linked to SB account, it makes sense for you to intimate your bank, cancel the credit card, and move your SB account to, or convert your SB account into an NRO account. That's the right thing to do.
Yes.
Mr. Dhanush, this may not be applicable for each and every person who becomes an NRI, but nevertheless there is quite a sizable number of persons who becoming NRI who are in well-to-do positions.
Yes.
Chances are that they are directors of some company. They could be partners in some partnership companies.
Yes.
What happens to their positions in these firms when they become an NRI? Are there any obligations towards that?
A resident person, when he becomes NRI and he was a director in a company, the company has to intimate to the registrar of companies by filing a requisite form about the changes in the residential status.
Okay.
Suppose if he is a partner in a partnership firm or LLP, he can continue to be a partner in
Okay.
a LLP or partnership firm.
Okay.
But if these business entities are engaged in agricultural plantation activities or real estate business, he has to come out of this partnership form or LLP, because these are the prohibited activities for the NRIs.
Okay, right. So to summarize, if somebody is holding positions as directors in a company, all that is required is intimate the registrar of companies about your change of tax status as an NRI. If you are a person who is holding a partner status in a partnership firm, you can continue to hold that position. But
Yes.
if you are engaged in that activity of agriculture related or plantation related businesses or in the real estate, you have an obligation to exit that partnership business when you become an NRI. Mr. Dhanush, that's an awesome work on simplifying things what people need to know when they become an NRI.
Yes.
We used to get a lot of queries. I'm absolutely certain that our audience has got a clear answer now about what they need to do and what they should be cautious of. Thank you very much for taking your time coming here and briefing to the audience what are their duties and obligations when they become an NRI. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, hope the video that we have done today helped you to understand what are the things that you really look into, what you can continue, what you cannot continue, what are your duties, what are your obligations when you become an NRI for the first time. If it gave you an idea about all the things that you need to attend to, please like this video. If you are a person who is watching this channel for the first time, or if you are yet to subscribe for the channel, please hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon. Don't forget to share this video with your near and dear ones. Thank you very much for watching this episode on NRI Money Clinic. I shall be back with you with yet another topic in yet another video very soon.
Press the bell icon for more details and subscribe our channel.